When a thug shoved a single mother to the ground in a quiet diner, he thought he'd get away with it, until he heard chairs scraping and heavy boots hitting the floor from the back of the restaurant. 4 bikers rose from their booth, eyes locked on him, and the entire place went silent. The man was tall, broad-shouldered, tattoos crawling up his neck, snakes, skulls, Gothic script. He snapped his fingers at the waitress. Black coffee, fast. His voice carried that barely contained aggression that made everyone shrink a little. Sarah sat in the corner with her 6-year-old daughter. The little girl was coloring intently on a placemat, tongue poking out slightly. These 20 minutes between Sarah's shifts were sacred. Here she was just mom. The waitress approached with the coffee pot. A small bump from another guest, she stumbled, and a few drops of hot coffee splashed onto the man's sleeve. His face twisted with rage. "You stupid." Before she could apologize, he grabbed her wrist and twisted hard. She cried out. The water pitcher crashed to the floor. Something inside Sarah snapped. She jumped up. "Let her go." The man released the waitress with a shove and turned to Sarah. His grin was pure malice. "Or what, sweetheart? You and your little brat." He stepped forward and shoved her hard. Sarah stumbled, hit a table edge, and fell. Pain exploded in her elbow. Her daughter screamed, a piercing, heart-breaking sound. The man loomed over her, fist clenched. "Should've minded your own business." Sarah closed her eyes for a second, gathering the last of her courage, ready to fight back even though it seemed hopeless. Then she heard it. Chairs scraping, multiple heavy boots striking the floor, deliberate, synchronized, coming from the back. 4 figures rose from the rear booth. Massive. Leather vests with patches, worn jeans, heavy boots. The tallest was at least 6 feet 4, gray beard to his chest, eyes like blue steel. Beside him, a bald man with tattooed forearms, one with a scar down his face, and a woman with a silver braid and arms like steel cables. They didn't rush. They didn't need to. Their presence alone changed everything. The thug froze. Uncertainty flickered across his face. The leader, a Vietnam veteran patch on his vest, stepped between Sarah and the man. Calm, no overt threat, but he filled the space completely. The thug took a step back. "I think you should leave," the veteran said quietly, but with absolute authority. The thug tried to rally. "This ain't your business, old man." The veteran stepped closer, about 18 inches away. Close enough for the thug to see the scarred knuckles, the road-weathered face, the eyes that had seen real fights. "She didn't come at you," the veteran said, voice low and sharp. "We saw everything from the back. You disrespecting the waitress, snapping at her like a dog, grabbing her wrist and hurting her, then shoving this mother to the ground in front of her kid." He paused, letting each word hit. "Here's what happens now. You apologize, sincerely, to all 3 of them. The waitress, the mother, and the little girl you just terrified. Then you walk out that door and never come back to this town. Or we have a very different conversation outside in the parking lot, and I promise you won't like how it ends." The silver-haired woman knelt beside Sarah, helped her up gently. "You okay, hun? Nothing broken?" Her voice was soft, almost motherly. Sarah shook her head, pulled her trembling daughter close. The thug looked around. Everyone was staring, disgust, hostility. The cook stood in the doorway. The elderly couple by the entrance glared. Even the teenage busboy had his arms crossed. His bravado collapsed. "Sorry," he muttered, staring at his boots. Louder, the veteran said. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that." The veteran nodded slowly. "Now get out." The man stumbled to the door, nearly slipped on the wet floor, jumped into his beat-up pickup, and peeled out with squealing tires. The tension broke. Everyone exhaled, started talking again. The silver-haired woman squeezed Sarah's shoulder. The other bikers nodded respectfully and returned to their booth. The veteran pulled out his worn leather wallet, took 2 crisp $50 bills, and slid them under Sarah's cold coffee mug. "We've all got people we love," he said quietly. "Sometimes the world forgets to look after the ones who look after everyone else." Sarah's tears spilled over. $100, not a fix for everything, but a sign. She was seen, protected, valued. The veteran crouched down to the little girl. "Hey, little one, your mama is one of the bravest people I've seen in a long time. She stood up for someone who needed help, even though she was scared. That's what real heroes do." He gently touched her hair. "Take good care of your mama, okay? She's special. Then the four went back to their booth as if nothing had happened. The waitress came over, refilled Sarah's coffee. On the house. Thank you. Sarah shook her head. I had to. I couldn't have lived with myself otherwise. She pulled her daughter onto her lap, rocked her gently. The little girl slowly calmed. Mama, she asked quietly. Those were good guys, right? Even though they looked scary. Sarah glanced at the bikers eating pie and laughing. The veteran raised his mug in a silent toast. She returned it. Yeah, baby, she said, smoothing the girl's hair. Sometimes the toughest looking people have the biggest hearts. Help comes from the places you least expect. The little girl picked up her crayons again and added 4 big motorcycle figures around the stick figure mom and child. That's us, she explained. And that's them keeping us safe. Sarah kissed the top of her head, breathing in strawberry shampoo. Outside, the engines roared to life. The bikers rode off in formation, without looking back. Sarah held her daughter tight. Not the day she was knocked down, but the day she learned, protection can come from the most unexpected places. Standing up matters, even when it's terrifying. And sometimes, when you're at your most vulnerable, strangers become angels on motorcycles who remind you that you're not alone.